You know that moment when you're scrolling through social media and you see someone your age posting pictures from their third vacation this year, driving a car that costs more than most people's houses, and you can't help but wonder how on earth they afford it all. Maybe you start doing the math in your head. They make roughly the same salary as you, maybe even less, so how are they living like they just won the lottery while you're still checking your bank account balance before buying coffee? Well, here's something that might shock you. Most of those people aren't actually wealthy. They're just really good at looking wealthy. And there's a massive difference between the two that most people never figure out. The truly wealthy, the ones who build generational wealth and never have to worry about money again, they're making completely different choices. Choices that look boring, unglamorous, and frankly a little uncomfortable from the outside. And what I discovered completely changed how I think about money and success. If you're someone who's tired of living paycheck to paycheck, tired of watching other people seemingly get ahead while you stay stuck, and you want to understand the real blueprint that wealthy people follow, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you see money differently. Now, before we dive into these 7 sacrifices, let me tell you something that's going to sound counterintuitive. Building wealth isn't actually about making more money. I know that sounds crazy, but stick with me here. I know people who make 6 figures and are completely broke, and I know people who make $40,000 a year and have built substantial wealth. The difference isn't their income, it's their willingness to make specific sacrifices that most people simply refuse to make. These aren't just any sacrifices. These are the exact psychological and financial trade-offs that separate those who build lasting wealth from those who stay trapped in the middle class forever. And the crazy part is, most people know what these sacrifices are, but they convince themselves they'll start making them tomorrow, or next month, or next year. Meanwhile, the wealthy started making these sacrifices yesterday. Here's what makes this even more fascinating. These sacrifices compound over time. The person who starts making them at 25 will be in a completely different financial universe than someone who waits until 35. We're not talking about small differences here. We're talking about the difference between retiring at 50 with millions in the bank versus working until 70 and hoping Social Security doesn't run out. But let's address the elephant in the room. When I say sacrifices, I don't mean living like a monk and never enjoying your life. These aren't about depriving yourself of everything that makes life worth living. These are strategic choices that involve giving up certain things now so you can have everything you want later. The wealthy understand something that most people miss completely. Every dollar you spend today is a dollar that can't work for you tomorrow. Think about it this way. That $300 weekend getaway you take every month might seem harmless, but over 20 years, that's $72,000. And if you had invested that money instead of spending it, earning an average 8% return, you'd be looking at over $200,000. Suddenly that weekend trip doesn't seem so innocent, does it? The first sacrifice that wealthy people make, and this one's going to sting, is they sacrifice living at their means for living below their means. And I'm not talking about cutting coupons or buying generic cereal. I'm talking about a complete mindset shift that goes against everything our culture teaches us about success. Most people, the moment they get a raise or a promotion, immediately start thinking about how they can upgrade their lifestyle. Bigger apartment, nicer car, fancier restaurants, more expensive clothes. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's the single biggest wealth killer in America. But wealthy people do something completely different. When their income goes up, their expenses stay the same or barely increase at all. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people on the planet, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,000. He drives modest cars, eats at McDonald's, and has famously said he doesn't enjoy a $100 meal any more than a hamburger. This isn't because he's cheap or doesn't know how to enjoy life. It's because he understands that every dollar he doesn't spend on consumption is a dollar that can compound and grow into more wealth. But here's where most people get this wrong. They think living below your means is about deprivation and misery. It's not. It's about being intentional with your money instead of reactive. It's about asking yourself whether that purchase is moving you closer to or further away from financial freedom. It's about understanding that not everyone you see with luxury items is necessarily financially stress-free, while the person driving the reliable used Honda might be quietly building wealth and sleeping better at night. The second sacrifice is giving up instant gratification for long-term compound growth. And this one separates the wealthy from everyone else more than any other factor. We live in a culture that's designed to make you want everything right now. Buy now, pay later, 0% financing, same-day delivery. Every message you receive is telling you that waiting is for suckers and you deserve to have what you want immediately. But wealthy people have mastered the art of delayed gratification. They understand that money grows exponentially over time, but only if you give it time to grow. They'll drive a 10-year-old car so they can invest the difference between that car payment and what they could afford. They'll live in a modest apartment while they're building their investment portfolio. They'll pack lunches instead of eating out so they can put that money into assets that appreciate. This isn't just about the math, although the math is staggering. This is about rewiring your brain to think long-term instead of short-term. Every time you choose to invest instead of spend, you're strengthening that delayed gratification muscle. Every time you choose the boring investment over the exciting purchase, you're training yourself to think like a wealthy person. The third sacrifice, and this one might be the hardest to hear, is sacrificing your time and sometimes your relationships in service of building wealth. Now, before you think I'm advocating for becoming a workaholic who ignores their family, hear me out. This sacrifice is about being strategic with your time and energy, especially in the early stages of wealth building. Wealthy people understand that time is their most valuable asset, and they're willing to invest it heavily in activities that create long-term wealth rather than short-term pleasure. While their friends are binge-watching Netflix, they're reading books about investing. While their peers are spending weekends at bars, they're working on side businesses or learning new skills that could increase their earning potential. This often means saying no to social activities that don't align with their financial goals. It means missing some parties, some dinners out, some spontaneous adventures. It means being the person who can't always participate in the group's expensive plans, not because you don't have the money, but because you're choosing to use that money differently. And yes, sometimes this means evaluating your relationships. If you're surrounded by people who constantly pressure you to spend money you don't have on things you don't need, those relationships may not be supporting your long-term goals. Wealthy people are intentional about protecting their mental energy and their financial discipline from influences that could undermine both. But here's the thing that makes this sacrifice worthwhile. This isn't forever. The time and social sacrifices you make in your 20s and 30s create the financial freedom that lets you have more time and better relationships in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. You're trading temporary inconvenience for permanent improvement. The fourth sacrifice involves giving up debt-financed consumption for cash-based purchasing. This goes way deeper than just paying off your credit cards, although that's certainly part of it. This is about fundamentally changing how you think about buying things and financing your lifestyle. Here's something that shocked me when I started studying wealthy people. The wealthier someone is, the fewer monthly payments they tend to have. They buy cars with cash. They pay insurance annually to get the discount. They own their phones outright instead of financing them through their carrier. They avoid subscription services they don't actively use every single month. This isn't because they can't afford the monthly payments. It's because they understand that monthly payments are wealth killers. Every recurring payment is money that can't be invested. Every finance purchase costs you not just the price of the item, but the opportunity cost of what that money could have earned if it were invested instead. Most people think wealthy individuals have access to some secret credit that the rest of us don't know about. But the reality is the opposite. Wealthy people use credit strategically and sparingly, while everyone else uses it as a crutch to maintain a lifestyle they can't actually afford. Think about this for a second. If you finance a $30,000 car over 6 years, you're not just paying $30,000. You're paying $30,000 plus interest, plus the opportunity cost of what that monthly payment could have earned if invested. By the time you've paid off that car, you could have accumulated enough wealth to buy 2 cars with cash. But here's the kicker. That finance car is depreciating while your potential investments would have been appreciating. The wealthy understand something that most people miss completely. Debt isn't just about the interest rate. It's about the psychological burden and the opportunity cost. When you have monthly payments, you're essentially working for your past purchases instead of working for your future wealth. Every dollar that goes to a payment is a dollar that can't compound and grow. The 5th sacrifice is choosing continuous learning and personal development over entertainment and leisure activities. This one sounds boring as hell, and honestly, it kind of is. But this is where the magic happens for wealth builders. While most people are spending their evenings watching television or scrolling through social media, wealthy individuals are consuming content that makes them smarter, more skilled, and more valuable. They're reading books about business, investing, psychology, and economics. They're taking courses, attending seminars, hiring coaches, and constantly upgrading their knowledge and capabilities. Here's what makes this sacrifice so powerful. Your earning potential is directly tied to your knowledge and skills. The more you know, the more valuable you become in the marketplace. The more valuable you are, the more money you can command. It's that simple, but most people treat learning like it ended when they graduated from school. The wealthy treat their brain like their most important asset, and they never stop investing in it. They understand that the best return on investment isn't some hot stock tip or cryptocurrency. It's the knowledge and skills that compound throughout their entire career. A skill learned today could generate hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars over a lifetime. But this sacrifice goes beyond just reading business books. It's about developing the mindset and habits that successful people have mastered. It's about learning to think strategically instead of reactively. It's about understanding psychology, negotiation, leadership, and all the soft skills that separate high earners from everyone else. The 6th sacrifice is giving up the illusion of security for calculated risk-taking. This one terrifies most people because we're conditioned to believe that the safe path is the smart path. Get a good job, work for 40 years, save a little bit in your retirement account, and hope everything works out. But here's the problem with that approach. It's not actually safe anymore. The wealthy understand that the biggest risk isn't taking chances, it's avoiding opportunities. It's staying in a job where someone else controls your income. It's putting all your eggs in one basket and hoping your employer doesn't decide to downsize or automate your position. It's assuming that inflation won't erode your purchasing power over time. Wealthy people take calculated risks because they understand that extraordinary results require doing things that ordinary people won't do. They start businesses, invest in real estate, put money into stocks when everyone else is scared, and bet on themselves instead of betting on someone else's company. These 7 sacrifices aren't just financial decisions. They're identity shifts that transform how you think about money, time, and success. The person willing to make these sacrifices today becomes the millionaire everyone else wonders about tomorrow. Start with one sacrifice, master it, then move to the next. Your future wealthy self is counting on the choices you make right now.